This is a quick start guide for Lectrosonics Wireless Designer program. I reviewed the Lectrosonics Duet system in the January issue of Live Sound International and ProSoundWeb. This is just kind of a quick follow-up to that. So I'm using this software on a Mac, although the PC version looks exactly the same. First things first, we have to connect a hardware piece to the software. Super easy. Connect via USB or via network. Mine is connected via network. The IP address is the IP address of the device you're trying to connect to. That can be found in the network settings on the transmitter hardware itself. That's what mine is. I'm going to search for that. And there it is. That's not the right picture, but that's the right device. So I'm going to hit OK. All right, so this is the main window of Wireless Designer. On the left, you have your actual connected devices. This main section here, you have 3 tabs. You have channels, frequency coordination, and frequency scan. Channels, remember you're looking at channels, not hardware devices. The Duet system I'm using now, there's actually 2 stereo transmitters in it. Quick tip, if you hold Control and the negative and plus, you can make those bigger or smaller. This is good if you have like 30 channels or something and I need to be able to look at all that on a screen at once. The cool feature about using Wireless Designer is your ability to be able to access all the hardware parameters via the software as opposed to using the buttons on the transmitter or the receiver. So if you double click on this channel and you'll see you've got a transmitter and a receiver tab. Transmitter tab, you can do a bunch of stuff. Name the transmitter itself, meaning that RF module. Then here, the channel names, maybe audio left and then audio right, or A audio left, A audio right for the A side of the unit. We could also name it, in an IFB situation as maybe the producer or the program feed. Basic things here, invert the phase or the polarity, your input level. You've got a trim plus or negative 5 dB, and of course your input type, Dante or analog. Over here you can type in the frequency you want that to be, and then your RF transmitting level. And in this window, it can act like you're out of the window. So you can turn the RF module on or off, you can mute it. You can also hit up the receiver side. You can change the mix mode, which I kind of got into in the article. You can lock the front panel out, choose the battery type, the backlight, timeout time. And keep in mind, I mentioned this in the article, if for some reason you have an artist that you're working with and maybe she needs it really loud and her pack is dimed out and your input side is high as you want to make it before clipping, you still have additional gain using the limiter function. Although the M2R has a really good headphone amplifier in it, so I can't imagine ever needing to do that. Sync settings just has to do with maybe you just want to sync a frequency or you want to sync all this information. And you can also just go back and forth through here with, we only have 2 channels currently, but that's what those left and rights do. Frequency coordination tab, this is where the magic happens for all of your coordination space. Frequency scan kind of gives you a better view of the spectrum. So the first thing we need to do before we do any type of coordination is we need to get some data into the software of the environment we're in. So using the M2R receiver pack, I performed a scan here at my place and I imported that scan, I synced that scan into the transmitter. But now I need to get that transmitter data from the hardware piece into software. Super easy here, import scan data. And there it is. What you're looking at here are TV channels, different amplitudes. So this either could be a different power amplitude of the TV channel or it's further away, possibly. One thing to consider here in this window is the Duet has a wide bandwidth with frequency. It's 470 to 608, which really is the range that we have to work with. Keeps shrinking every year, it seems, right? This window shows you way up. We don't even do anything in this range anymore. We're not allowed to. So just a quick thing, if you grab this handle and as you're grabbing, you start seeing TV channels, which kind of helps you understand where you're at. But I tend to just kind of move it up to the space I'm working in. As you'll notice up here in the right-hand corner, this is a very important window, the no conflicts window. This shows you if there's any conflicts between one transmitter and another, or one transmitter and the active RF in your environment. One really neat feature is if you grab the blue lines are your actual transmitters. You don't like where that is, or you want to put it somewhere else or further away from something, you can just grab it, put this right on top of a TV channel. It's going to say a conflict and what the conflict specifically is. Quick way to kind of find a channel and know if there's a conflict or not. If you grab this bar here, you make everything bigger and smaller. Another thing is the custom channels, which is an important thing to know about. I only have a Lectrosonics unit connected to this network. This software will only work with Lectrosonics gear as far as being networked and controllable. But you can still add other channels into the coordination. And so if you right-click on custom channels, and add a custom channel. You get kind of a basic way to add a channel. It doesn't give you as much information as maybe you'd want to have. It's not going to look up a database and know that this specific hardware piece has this range or the front end filtering is this way or whatever. It's just a real basic way to enter some information. So put Shure IEM. You can either put the frequency of it if it is a specific unit you know about and you can't change, or you can set the range of the device. So I'm just going to choose that. So there it is. It's real basic, but go to the frequency coordination tab. You'll see it in the list. So I'm going to coordinate selected frequencies, and it's coordinated, no conflicts. So in general, it's a pretty good program. It might not be as full-featured as Wireless Workbench or Sennheiser's offering, but it does what it does pretty easily and pretty quickly. There is some additional information on soundnerdsunite.org. Thanks a lot.